After watching a few not so great Christmas films, I was really pleased to watch Toying with the Holidays. This is a film that aired originally on Lifetime. I believe it's also called The Holiday Train. It was released last year in 2021. It's directed by Bradley Walsh and written by Buddy Barron. And I'm not going to give any spoilers just now, but there is one thing about this that I thought was poorly done. It's a brilliant film, really enjoyed it, but on reflection, there's something that I think it could have done much better with, but it will be a spoiler, so I'll leave that to discuss at the end. This stars Chad Michael Murray as Kevin and Cindy Busby as Danielle. We also have Callum Shoniker as young Paul and Kate Trotter as Kate Prescott. And Kate Prescott is Danielle's mother, and she is absolutely delightful. There's just something about that character of Kate that lights up the room whenever she's on screen. Really loved that character. But I think all of the characters were great, and the narrative itself was adorable as well. Danielle has finally, after years of being away, decided to take her son back home for the holidays. They live in a classic, quaint kind of town. Um, everybody knows everybody kind of thing. And while there, she introduces her son to some of the holiday traditions that she loved when she was a little girl. Her father used to drive the North Pole Express train every year as the conductor, and he also, with Danielle, used to set up a model train around the Christmas tree. So basically, trains are at the centre of this narrative, and I love trains, always have, so that aspect of it is something I definitely loved. And she tries, with the help of Kevin, to track down this North Pole Express train because obviously it was sold off, it was no longer running, that tradition has ended. But she wants to reignite that tradition. But as the film does mention, it looks like that's going to take a miracle. Will they pull it off in time? I won't say any more than that about the narrative, but I will say that I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. We get to hear these really lovely, fond memories she had of her now late father, and I think it's beautiful that she wanted to reinstate this tradition, this fond memory she had as a child. And that aspect of it I thought was beautiful. It gets quite sentimental. There's this one moment I thought was really sweet when Kate, her mother, is holding a mug, and Danielle kind of acknowledges that that was her father's mug, and Kate says it's something I do to feel close to him, and it just moved me so much. Like I never would have thought, thankfully I'm not in that kind of position, but I never would have thought using somebody's mug would make you feel closer to them. But then I stopped and thought about it, and it made sense, and it really moved me. And I think there are a lot of little things in this, little thought-provoking, moving things that's just really powerful. The auction, I won't go into too much detail about the auction scene, but I loved it. Absolutely adored it. One of my favourite films in any Christmas film I've seen in a very long time. So from start to finish, it was almost perfect. Great casting, the on-screen chemistry worked fabulously well. It wouldn't be a Christmas film from Lifetime if it didn't have a romantic aspect, and that, I think, developed very well. It was very believable. The characters' actions were believable. Very Christmassy, very festive, wintry, snowy, cozy, warm, the usual kind of warm, fuzzy vibes that you get from this kind of film that I think would definitely put a person in the Christmas spirit. It doesn't have too many actual Christmas things in it. They're not gift shopping and gift wrapping, and I think they might have had a hot cocoa at one point, but it's not all. If you've got a checklist of Christmas things to appear in a film, very few of those things would actually be checked off. But the general vibe is merry and adorable. So if you haven't seen it and you're looking for a Christmas film to watch, I really recommend Toying with the Holidays. I will discuss now, with a spoiler warning, the thing that did not work. So, spoilers from now. Needless to say, these kind of films are never that surprising. Needless to say, she did decide to stay behind and not necessarily take on the promotion that was offered to her. Although what did actually happen was surprising. I will say that. I won't completely spoil it. But what bothered me in particular is that there was no real sense of urgency about her work, apart from the initial scene at the beginning where we realise she's got an important job. And I think maybe one or two conversations throughout it. There was no sense of urgency about her work. There was no sense of passion about her work. I didn't believe at any point that she cared about this position or this opportunity to grow. And a lot of other films do it much better. We needed to see emails, we needed phone calls from her boss demanding that she submitted things in time. We needed her to be working more over the holidays. She didn't really do much of this at all, and that meant that when she made that decision to stay there and not kind of move to, I think it was Los Angeles, we didn't really get the sense that this was a big sacrifice she was making, giving up something good to get something better. But that didn't come across because they didn't lean on that too much throughout the narrative, and it would have been very easy to forget that she was actually spending time away from an important job that she's passionate about. Never got that at all. So they kind of ruined the big reveal, if you like, which is when the character, as is cliche with these, when the character decides that they're going to either give up their career or take a sidestep and stay with their family in the quaint little town. But because I never got the sense that she cared that much about her job and that it was actually that important to her, the reveal was kind of, didn't really do much. But because I kind of have seen a lot of these films, I could read between the lines. But if you haven't seen that many of these films, you need to be spoon-fed that a little bit more to be able to get that true sensation. So it kind of ruined an otherwise really fantastic film. But aside from that, Toying with the Holidays really is an absolute delight.